Hey, business owners, we know you know the importance of maximizing every dollar. With the Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business American Express card, you can make your expenses work just as hard as you. From afternoon coffee runs to stocking office supplies and even team dinners, you can earn miles on all your business expenses. Plus, you can earn 125,000 bonus miles for a limited time through October 29th. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business Card. If you travel, you know. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply. Offer ends October 29th, 2025.
Welcome back, folks. This is episode 164. We got an amazing guest today, Mr. Michael Steen. And just to give you a little intro of this amazing payroll professional, he is, Client Solution Director at Payroll Minds, a global payroll consultancy dedicated to helping multinationals streamline their HR and payroll processes across complex international landscapes. Born in Detroit, raised in the Pacific Northwest in Chicago, and based in Dublin, Michael brings a diverse background from wilderness guiding and crisis intervention to mindfulness teaching before landing in global payroll.
You did your
Hey,
homework.
he produces the show, basically. Passionate advocate for raising the profile of payroll as a strategic function. He's also a musician in arms. Man, I'm learning. I didn't know this. A sauna and cold plunge enthusiast, and currently curating and archival recordings for his upcoming book on traditional Irish music. Welcome to the show, Michael Steen.
Man, well, you did your homework.
Yes, sir.
You're outing me, all my nerdy background.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah,
Nerds
I love this.
World. I mean, thank you very much for having me, Brian and Walt. And
it's our pleasure.
And where are you both calling in from today?
Southeast Florida. I'm in I was going to say Southeast U.S. because Walt's in Georgia and I'm in Florida.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Very good.
So
yeah, I'm a Midwest boy myself.
How'd you end up in Dublin?
It's a big story, but I would have been born and raised right in the Metro Detroit area. My family's from there and also from Canada. My mother's Canadian, and I, lived in Chicago for kind of my college years. And then I ended up living in Portland, Oregon. I spent about a decade. I kind of did my 20s in Portland, Oregon, you could say.
Wow.
And then I've just spent about 5 years living in Dublin, Ireland. So I'm just in North County, Dublin, in a little village on the seaside up here. So living the dream. And yeah, it's been a cool journey so far. And it's fun to get to chat about it and chew the fat with you guys.
Yeah.
So
we talk about all the time, like payroll can literally take you around the world. You know, the things that payroll can do for your career, anyone's career, because, we're facing a shortage, Michael. I don't know if you knew that, but 80% of the payroll folks, at least in the U.S., are over 40. And, those looking at retirement soon. And we are trying to find all different ways and different initiatives to kind of get folks just knowledgeable about that it's a possible career path. Well, this is great. I love kind of showcasing these professionals. What are you going to say, Walt?
Michael's a great example of how, like he just said, he's living the dream, right? And he's a payroll professional, right? And that could be something that sells someone or gets someone to come into the payroll industry, especially somebody who's young, right? You draw them in, so I think that's a great example of that.
Heck yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, you reminded me there what you're talking about. Do you know Mel and the GPA, the Global Payroll Alliance?
I know. We've heard of the Global Payroll Alliance, so I don't know anybody specifically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Melanie would be a great guest for the show, but they one of their initiatives is #payroll is a career. I think it's a similar thing that you're talking about. Yeah, trying to raise the profile of the industry. And yeah, that's a great
Melanie?
mission. Melanie Pizzi, P-I-Z-Z.
Oh, I've seen that name.
Based in England. Yeah. She could be a fun guest and someone who's,
thank you,
would be really, I think would be really advocating, particularly on this side of the pond for the payroll industry.
For sure.
So
awesome.
Thank you.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So tell us, how'd you get into payroll?
Yeah. So I don't actually really consider myself in payroll at all. I've never processed payroll. In my life, but I would consider myself a member of the global payroll community and an advocate for the community who would have approached it really from the vendor side. when I moved to Ireland, I landed in a software startup called Payslip.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And yep. And Payslip is a really great Irish success story. We founded by Fidelma McGurk from Wexford. It was an amazing story to be a part of, a female-led and founded Irish tech startup. When I joined, there were maybe 4 dozen employees. When I left, that we had doubled in size. And, I would have come at it, from really more from the angle of wanting to get experience in SaaS sales, in selling SaaS products, so it was an amazing education landing in a startup environment, it's the Wild West. People are, trying to satisfy investors, and we're trying to make sales and get customers and grow our brand awareness in the marketplace. And I felt very fortunate to have landed into a company that not only was led by a really, tenacious and courageous visionary. I don't know if either of you have ever worked at a startup, but like the types of people it takes to start a company and build something. I think it's a particular type of metal DNA that's there. Not everybody has it, so that's a very particular type of a person to get to work with. My friends who work at ADP or work at CloudPay or Papaya, they very rarely would get to interact with the CEO of ADP or Papaya, but I was getting to chat and learn from the likes of Fidelma about the payroll industry and about lots of other things.
Amazing.
Similarly, she had brought in, do you know Mary Holland?
Name is familiar, but we haven't met her.
Yeah, so Mary would have been, and I hope I'm not misrepresenting the bio here, but she would have been really involved in the GPMI. It used to be called, what's now called Payroll Org. And so she is now retired, but would be a very knowledgeable leader and someone who has influenced a whole generation of payroll pros through education. I meet people all the time who say, oh, Mary taught my class. I was in Mary's class, so she was at the time working for Payslip as well and supporting with her payroll knowledge, which was hugely instrumental. So I was able to meet and learn from mentors like Mary, and similarly, a guy called Mark Simons, who was our VP of sales, who is a great character and would have spent about a decade working for Workday in their kind of global payroll partner environment. So it was a crash course in learning about the industry. And because we were a startup, because we were hustling, to get our name out there into the marketplace, I was traveling all around the world, meeting people, meeting influencers, and quickly realized the value of a personal brand on LinkedIn. A marketing budget can get you so far, a LinkedIn company page can get you so far, but what I have learned and developed over the last 4 years is the algorithm seems to really favor an individual's profile, an individual's content. And if you know who you're speaking to, and if you care about who you're speaking to, and you highlighted some of my background before I worked in the payroll world, I have a deep compassion for human beings and a care for other people. So through content I create on LinkedIn, it's been a really fun project to engage and get to know payroll professionals all around the world, people who are processing payrolls, people who are serving payroll people through technology, through some of the educational organizations like Payroll Org or the Global Payroll Alliance. So, that's what got me involved in the global payroll world, really. And I just sort of threw myself in. And now everywhere I go, I attend conferences around the world. People are usually say, hey, I know you from LinkedIn. I follow you on LinkedIn, and in the context of calls. So in that perspective, I feel very fortunate because a lot of my friends who are, leading global payroll projects, they know their team and they might know people in their network from conferences, but probably over the last 4 years, I've spoken to hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of global payroll leaders through being in an environment where you're demoing a software to somebody, you're meeting people at conferences, and now in the context of Payroll Minds, where we're the world's global payroll experts, shout out to Bart and Gerben and Job and the Dutch guys leading the charge with this great vision of Payroll Minds, right? That we're going to create a boutique global payroll advisory firm that provides staffing, that provides transformation services, that can help implement, that could cover your maternity leave. And that's been a really cool project. And I got to meet Carl, the new CEO of Workday, when I was at Workday Rising in Amsterdam. And I got a chance to talk to him, and I told him about the Payroll Minds vision and what we're building. And he said, that's really great because the industry needs a firm that's really focusing on global payroll.
Yep.
And we're finding that the big four, the big five, or whatever you want to call it, have loads of really talented, bright people who could help your organization, but they might not have the battle scars of decades in the global payroll space, which our firm has. So it's been really fun to learn more about the industry from a different angle. You know, when you're at a software company that's striving to grow your business, the answer to most questions are use our product, you know? So I had one angle and lens through which I was looking at the industry where I learned a ton. And shout out to Payslip. It's a global payroll control platform, a really brilliant and innovative way of solving a lot of the problems that multinationals have with global payroll through integration, through automation, through really giving teams control of their data, which allows the whole organization to benefit from the insights of that data and really allows global payroll to have a seat at the table, so to speak, with leadership, because you can so much more easily glean the insights that can really serve and reduce risk for a company. But now, right, I'm looking at it from a new lens, and I'm in Dublin, but I still go to the Netherlands every month to hang out with the team there. We have people in Chicago and the United States now. You know, shout out to Kira Rubiano and the team she's leading over there. Did you guys talk to Kira?
We had her on,
Yeah. Okay. So you know Kira, she's a really brilliant person with an amazing story. And so I'm glad you got to meet her. So yeah, we're building something over here and I'm excited about it. So it's cool to meet both of you, but to kind of put a bow on, that's how I found my way into global payroll, really, is that I was working, you know, in the world of sales, really, but found a niche and then built a big network within that niche, and then kind of decided to double down on it and go all in. You know, I have lots of friends, and Dublin is a great spot for SaaS sales jobs. You know, you could get a job at Salesforce or at HubSpot or at wherever, but I decided I love the global payroll community. I've got to meet amazing people all around the world, and so I want to keep.
What if I told you that your boss skydives, Tim in marketing is a magician, and Sam in accounting does sums in his head while standing on his hands? Seeing sides of the people you work with but never see, sides that inform and inspire their work and that can inspire yours, is what The Talent Show is all about. Email me, Tom Alexander, host of The Talent Show, at talentshow@backboneinc.com, and show us what you got. I look forward to seeing you on The Talent Show.
Figuring out how we can serve them and how we can have fun together, because if you know me, you know that I always like to try to bring it back to something that's really real. We spend all these days staring into these screens, and then when we're not on these screens, we're staring at the smaller screens, right? And the one thing we all have in common, and I'm going to go super deep here, guys, so look out, but is that we're all going to die.
Yes, sir. That's true.
And in the meantime, can we be kind to each other? Can we have fun? Can we bring playfulness, joy, love into how we're treating each other, into how we're doing business with each other? And that's at the heart of it for me. And if you were, you know, in your research while looking, I used to work in the world of mental health. I worked in the National Suicide Prevention Crisis Line. I worked with at-risk youths in a, you know, in a wilderness therapy setting. I come at working with anybody, for me, at my best, and I'm a flawed human being like everybody else, but at my best, I hope I'm looking at people through the eyes of compassion and care, that we're all just, you know, little babies, right? We're all little babies, and we all grew up, and now we're wearing adult clothes, and we're all pretending to know what we're doing, and we're trying to get on with it and provide for our families and have fun and hopefully do something that's a bit meaningful and leaves this place better for the next generation, you know? So
amazing, man. I mean,
Yeah, I was going to ask you, and that's a funny thing. I was going to ask you about your passion to help others, right? And I wanted to ask, how has that helped you along your sales and global payroll journey? And have you found yourself, not only being, the person who comes in and wants to be kind, but also motivating people when it comes to your role?
Mm. That's interesting. Kindness. Well, I think for me it connects to leadership, and I think that the heart of leadership is service, and the heart of service is love. So I think if we're wanting to, in our professional environments, motivate others or influence the culture of people's workplaces, if we can come at it from an attitude of not so much what can I get, but what can I give, that is probably, you know, and I'm thinking of all sorts of examples where I haven't been that way, but I think at my best, I would hope that's what I would aspire to be. And I think, and it's important. Like, have you seen these stats that say, I don't know if it's stats, but like that there are the two people that influence your mental health the most in your life are your significant other or your spouse and your manager,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
Because they're the person, and the old adage, people don't
They
leave
leave the
jobs, they leave
managers. Yep.
managers.
Yes.
So like, so the way I look at it, and as I mentioned, I've been at startups, I've been very close to people in leadership positions and learned about leadership from these really like courageous, tenacious people who have the guts to put themselves out there in the marketplace and go to market with something. So I think that we have to keep in mind that like how we are and how we show up impacts other people. And if we want to have fun together and have a positive workplace, like we need to remember that, because I don't know, but I don't know if that answers
Yeah.
your question. But
Mm.
and in terms of sales, in terms of that, like, I think I think that no, nothing gives people the ick more, like to use a very Gen
Mm-hmm.
Z term, like nothing gives people the ick more than feeling like you're talking to somebody who has an agenda and they're leading you or they're trying to manipulate you to do something. And I think for me, and I am in a sales role and I have been in quota carrying roles, but I think you almost have to trick yourself into forgetting that's what you're doing and just show up and be present with other people and listen.
Mhm.
And you can learn a lot about people from listening
That's
to
right.
them and asking questions. And one of my favorite quotes that guides me is from Maya Angelou, and I'm probably gonna misquote it a little bit, but she said something, or maybe it was in one of her books or poems, but it was something like, people won't remember
Mhm.
what you wore, this, that, or the other thing, but they'll remember how you made them
Yep.
feel.
Yes.
And I think if we can give people, especially in a professional environment where things can be so like transactional, people are just viewed as cogs in a wheel, and particularly like shout out to the payroll people who
Mhm.
don't always get their day in the sun
Right.
or get their flowers, and I think when we give people a chance to feel heard and seen and appreciated, that makes everything go along easier. And listen, if you are somebody who's going to the marketplace, I have a payroll product or I have a service. If you're working with what type of people do you want to work with? Do you want to work with people who know you and care about, have a bit of sincere care for you as a human being, and don't just view you as a revenue generating activity that they can tick off so they show their boss that they're meeting their KPIs for that week?
Yep.
But it's tricky, and and shout out to the sales people as well who have so much pressure on them,
Mhm.
to meet quotas, and then the people who are pressuring them who are getting pressure from investors to get their money back. Like,
Yeah.
it's not, I know I met somebody the other day who was in sales and left, and he said, it's so great. I didn't realize the chronic pressure and stress I was living
Mm-hmm.
with being in a quota carrying role, so
Wow.
so I'd say that's a bit of how where I've come from influences how I try to show up, and I often fail. I'm in Ireland. Samuel Beckett, the Irish playwright, had a quote in one of his books: "Ever tried, ever failed. Try again, fail better. Try again, fail again,
Same.
fail better." So I'm saying all these beautiful things, and there are probably people who know me who are laughing, being like, "Oh, you were such a grump the other day," or "You weren't embodying that at all, Michael."
That's
Which
humanity,
is
right?
probably
That's the
fine.
human.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a human. I'm a flawed
Oh
human
my
being.
gosh.
But I hope I can fail better
Like,
the
there you
next
go.
time and hopefully be a little better than the day
That's
before.
That's
right.
great. That's great.
One, I
Yeah.
think you need your own show. You are an amazing speaker. I mean, I think
Oh, cheers.
yeah, right? Well, like it's just chilling,
Yeah, absolutely.
sitting back. I'm watching, like just enjoying you speak and drop some knowledge on us. What you made me think of in there was, you said you doubled down on payroll. And I think that's what me and Walt did 3 years ago, right? We were just working, processing payroll and stabilizing a payroll department for a company. And it was just like, oh man, folks have these dreams of building and doing something else. We've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. And then it just kind of hit us like, wait a minute, we can do this. And, we really started doing this because we are building an app. We're building something to bring to market. We're bootstrapping it ourselves. So it takes time. But then,
Oh,
yeah,
really? I didn't know of that
yeah,
about you at
yeah.
all.
It's,
Tell me about your app.
it's more of a the phrase that we've heard now called payroll management system or solution. It's not a processing, we're not trying to be a processor or a bureau like cutting checks. It's more to help folks get organized. It's, born from payroll professionals, built for payroll professionals, but it definitely has a significant impact to companies' bottom line and it'll help them streamline. So we're still building that, more to come. But then we started the podcast and the podcast became the thing. And at that time, there was only Nick Day. Nick Day is only like 50 episodes ahead of us. So, right. And so we jumped
Yeah.
into that content market with him. And since then,
Cool.
oh my gosh, there's so many ads. And we
Yeah.
were a proponent of that, saying, come on, there's no content here for payroll people. Come and join us, like help us build this. So you just made me think
Yeah.
of that when you said you doubled down into payroll. And it's true now. Like now my life is consumed with payroll, right? And I
Right.
feel great about it. And it's funny thing, Bart just sent me a DM on LinkedIn and he's like, hey man, did you do the thing I asked you for? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it. So, shout out to Bart and all the Payroll Minds. I love you guys, man, and then just kind of love seeing
Yeah.
these new products and services develop in the market, and what the growing entrepreneurial spirits that are happening in payroll. We've had a ton of great founders here. And then speaking of that global experience and global build, right? Do you run across clients that have like misconceptions about expanding internationally? And if so, what do they get wrong? Or if at all? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're getting into the payroll questions now, and I'm starting to sweat here. I've spoken about everything I know about all the touchy-feely stuff, and now we're getting into the deep waters here. So, are there misconceptions clients have about expanding
Correct.
internationally? Well, I have met global payroll leaders, shared services leaders, and they're very attached to, I think, a legacy way of solving global payroll that they think that they need to consolidate their vendors is something that I hear over and over again. Oh, the problem is we need to consolidate our vendors. We need to go down to one contract. And that, listen, like ADP and the likes, that type of model, you might call it an aggregator model. Like they are massively successful and are the biggest kids on the block. And that's one way to do it. And if there's misconceptions, I think, and I have to remember this, is that I talk to people about transforming their global payroll every day. But for most people leading in global payroll in their career, they might do a transformation project once, maybe twice in their whole career, right? And so we can't take that for granted. But so they might not really have done the research, or they might not know what's happening on the cutting edge that could be a different way of solving their problems without needing to do a massive rip and replace or a massive changing of everything. There are different models that do this now. There are tools out there like Payslip, which I just mentioned, but also Payzar or Paybix or Datascale HR now, is a hugely kind of AI and machine learning type of tool that can achieve a lot of the same things, but you don't have to get rid of all your vendors who are processing payroll for you in different countries anymore. Now, listen, every company is different. and every leadership is different. For some companies, maybe the best solution really is to go with one vendor. But for others, if they're happy with 80% of things and they just need to change a few things, and they could just get a tool that helps integrate, automate, give them visibility of data. And a lot of people, I guess, to answer the question, if there's misconceptions about expanding internationally or what to do with your international payroll, it's just that if, for instance, you were just keeping your head down doing your thing for 10 years and then popped up and now it's time to change, the marketplace is completely different now from what it was. And so that might be one thing, is that there just might be.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
There's disruption happening to the marketplace.
Mhm.
And even though there's a lot of excitement about it and people intellectually get it, the number of people that are adopting it and changing
Like
it probably is very frustrating for
lose
some of
Mike?
those companies I
Michael?
just named, that they're not adopting and getting as
I
many
don't know if you're still.
people
Oh,
as
there
they
we
would
go.
want
Yeah.
to.
Okay.
But there are innovative, interesting new ways of solving the problem that is global payroll, and also integrating it with HR, integrating it with finance, and maybe the marketplace, or maybe the companies out there, they might not be adapting to this new technology as quickly as some of the new technology people might hope they would
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
They're probably not maybe getting as many new customers as they would hope,
Mhm.
maybe, because it's just a really strong, if you're tipping the scales, how many years of a certain way are there? And then just in the last less than a decade of things, there's new models coming out. So I'd say that if there's misconceptions that people just really would want to, and this isn't a commercial for come talk to Payroll Minds and we'll help you evaluate the landscape of vendors and all that, but that is something that we could do, or that I would really hope people would do, rather than just keeping the same old. But you might evaluate these new tools and look at the old models, the older models of doing things, and realize that's actually exactly what we need. We don't need, we just need to keep it simple, guys. So
Yeah.
it just depends. So that's me trying to speak knowledgeably about
No, you nailed
payroll,
it.
but
You nailed it.
Great.
Yep.
So I have a question in that same vein for you in terms of technology and how it's transforming payroll. In your opinion, what's one innovation that you see it's helping clients and pros in the payroll field? And are there any that you think are overhyped?
Well, it's interesting. Like, I hosted a panel of global payroll experts in Amsterdam 4 or 5 months ago, and I asked the audience, there might have been, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 people in the room, how many of you used ChatGPT 1 year ago? And maybe there were like 4 or 5 people who raised their hand, 1/10 the crowd. And then I said, how many of you use it today? And almost everybody raised their hand. And if there's one tool that has come in that isn't even really, ChatGPT isn't a payroll tool, but it is changing how we do work. And it's difficult to go anywhere and not hear people talking about AI or saying that their tool is AI, even if it isn't using
Yes.
AI. But it's just such a great thing for
Yes.
branding.
Yeah.
Everything is AI
Yeah.
now. So I don't know if I'm answering
When
your
helped,
question.
or is
Well,
it overhyped?
Well, no, I think that it does help,
Agreed.
but that payroll superheroes are still the ones in
Oh,
most
yeah.
cases where they're still manually
Yes.
inputting things from Excel spreadsheets and doing
Yep.
VLOOKUPs and munging
Yep.
together spreadsheets. Unless in some instances where you really have successfully implemented an implementation of these tools is a whole other topic. Like,
Yeah.
the people will sell you the moon and the stars, but can it be implemented, or how long is it going to take to be implemented? Sometimes there's these never-ending implementation projects, and if you get it wrong in the implementation, then however good the tool is, if it wasn't integrated properly or implemented properly. So
Sorry.
those are some thoughts.
We
I
haven't
guess.
seen it impact payroll yet in any significant way. And the company I'm with now, we went to market recently, and, I've challenged vendors because they're like, oh, we have AI. And I'm like, oh, really? How? For payroll? Let me see. And they're like, oh, well, we have a chat bot that you can ask questions and it knows your policies. And I was like, well, that's not payroll.
Mm-hmm.
Cool tool. Thanks.
Yeah.
But that's not AI impacting payroll. And I think it's time. I think it's going to be, I would imagine folks, there are some companies that are working on it, but it's like Anita Latink warns us, right? AI still hallucinates, something that we need in payroll. We need to, you know, we don't want hallucination in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We promote ChatGPT to use it for payroll because there are some things that's not really payroll, but it's a good tool. I
Mhm.
have used it to look up compliance stuff, but I always double check it against the actual agency or government site to make sure it's right. So, you have to be careful, especially when it comes to compliance using it. But yeah, you're spot on there because it it's not there yet. Payroll, these HR payroll companies are like, yeah, we have AI, but it's still just a chat bot search tool. And it is very cool. It may cut down on the number of emails that you get from employees asking questions and even
Mm-hmm.
managers. Absolutely amazing tool, but it's not there yet for payroll processing. We had a show where we speculated what we would want from it. And
Absolutely.
like, I just want to talk to the system and it do the things, right? I don't want to do the VLOOKUPs anymore. I don't want to build these
Yeah.
reports or for several different ones. I want you to do
Mhm.
it. I want AI to do it for me. And then I can put it to who I need to present it to. And I do predict that AI will take some of the entry level payroll jobs in the next few years, but I don't think I think we're a long way from companies putting it on autopilot for payroll and not having a human liaison, right? So I think we'll be payroll
Mm-hmm.
pilots in the future
Mm.
and be the ones that interact with the AI to get payroll done. So I urge payroll for folks to usher it in, learn it, right? I'm studying for the CPP right now, but after that, it's AI, right? It's, how do I
Yeah,
prompt
that's true.
chat GPT? Because I keep seeing these things, these posts that say folks over 40 use chat GPT like Google. And I'm like, dang, that's me.
Mm.
But, so how do I
Yeah.
improve that process? How do I leverage this tool to the
Mhm.
max, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, be interesting.
Good. But I'm glad that you were asking hard questions because, yeah, having been on the sales end of things, like, keep them honest. And if they're claiming they have AI, like a lot of people say they have AI and they don't
Right,
really, or
exactly.
they have something that's on the, or they have
In the
something that's on the
roadmap.
roadmap and it eventually will be, so keep them
Yep.
honest because like they need to learn as well. Like we're all learning how to best do our jobs and work things, but yeah, they need to realize that I think they have to be able to tell it straight and be
Yeah.
real about what their product can do and what their product can't
For
do.
sure.
And if they want you to partner and invest in them, you need to be
Gotta
able to be
thank you so
transparent.
much. Yep. I'm
Yes.
having that
Mhm.
conversation with sales folks now. Like, if you want to be a partner, you got to be transparent. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
Mhm.
But here's
Mhm.
hopefully maybe an easier
Good
question.
luck.
Yeah, here's an easier question for you, Michael. What advice would you have for somebody, payroll pro, that wants to make that transition to, leadership, sales, or a non-transactional role? Let's say sales specifically, because that's your wheelhouse.
Wow. Well, I think that would be the kind of dream person for some of these companies, right? If you look at all these big payroll vendors with all these venture capital funding, if they had someone who actually had payroll
Mhm.
experience to be the person, because usually the people that I meet at conferences are usually just like me, have never processed payroll. If they were wanting to transition into a leadership role, into right being in more of a commercial role, I would say build your personal brand on LinkedIn
Mm. That-
and invest in yourself, or better yet, get your company to
Yep.
invest in you. There are really great coaches out there who can help you because it is an amazing tool that can help grow your professional network, and you own it and you take it with you wherever you go, no matter who you work for.
Mhm.
And you'll learn about a lot of different things from getting into it, because you learn about marketing, you learn about writing and content creation, who is your ideal Like, who's your audience? What's your niche audience? Who's the specific type of person who you want to speak to, who you want to serve? And you can create content, and don't use ChatGPT to write the posts. It's obvious when they do, you can see it a mile away. But if you want, you could use it to help get some ideas for things to get started, or help you make a content calendar that's serving the type of people you want to talk to. And it takes courage to put yourself out there. And like, when I first started posting on LinkedIn, there were people who were saying, "Oh, it's so cringe," or we're mocking it or putting it down, saying, but I kept at it and, have grown my following. I think when I started at pace that I maybe had 1,000 or 2,000 people I was connected to, and I'm connected to over 18,000 people now, all in the global payroll space, and the Workday ecosystem a bit focused there. But it's something I would really encourage people to do, because I think it's a personal brand, and more, I think companies are going to be seeing that's how they can reach their audience, because people more and more want to talk to people and feel safer and trust people who they feel familiar with. It's changing. Like, we live in the age of TikTok, and where we follow people who we've never met and learn all about what they cook, what they do with their husband, what they wear. We get ready with them. We put their makeup on with them. We do all these things. And it's going to change, I think, how companies sell their products. And so if someone is in payroll, first of all, you're at a great start, because you actually know stuff about payroll and you live it. I've had to learn the hard way by talking to people and meeting people and reading and learning. But if you already had that experience, you can write about it. And I think the payroll community is a very passionate and kind community. Like, I don't know of other niches. Like, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in the IT support LinkedIn community, there's a really passionate, active LinkedIn community with influencers, people writing books, and maybe there is, but I don't hang out in those spaces on LinkedIn. All I see is that, wow, you have, people who are writing books and selling them all through LinkedIn. You have Anita Latink, you have Bard, and Max now has come out with his book. I think Ian Giles is making a book, and there's probably others who I'm forgetting. And the payroll community is really passionate, and they, I think, have been neglected for a long time. It's been seen as a back office function, and people are really excited. And I was really actually moved by it. Actually, I was really touched. Like, I was in Orlando at Payroll Congress this year, and like, it was my first time there. I had known tons of people who'd been there for years. I just had never made it. And the passion and excitement that people had, and I could tell, like, they were giving out awards, they were doing these things up on the big main stage, and like, I could see how it was energizing people and like filling people up with life and energy to go out and do something that, like, I can appreciate is not always a fun thing to do and can be tedious and hard. And like, I've run a lot of polls on LinkedIn of the global payroll community, and I'll ask, like, how many hours a week are you working? And like, almost everybody was saying they were working 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week. Like, and that's intense. And that's, if I'm thinking of the payroll community as people, I hope that these technologies and innovations can just make that poll result be everyone saying, I'm working 40 hours a week. So you have the rest of the time with your family. Like, there's this book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. It's a really interesting book. And it's from this woman who worked in hospice care. And I won't remember all of them, but one of the top regrets of people on their deathbed is, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And I wish I would have made more time to spend time with my family and my friends. I wish I would have had the courage to do something that I loved, that I was really passionate about. And as I think about, if I'm trying to look at the payroll community and professionals through that lens of, like, we want happy, healthy people who are loving their jobs and having rich, wonderful lives outside of work with their families and their communities. I hope that this technology can influence that in a really positive way, so we have great work-life balances for the payroll professionals.
Awesome. So And you can tell me if you don't want to answer this next question.
Okay.
Right. So is there one moment or mistake or instance in your professional journey that taught you a valuable lesson?
Are you tired of talent and HR podcasts that sound like corporate training videos? Same. Talentless is the no-fluff show about hiring, leadership, culture, and what's actually going on in the world of work. Talentless is a podcast for recruiters by recruiters. Hosted by Desiree Goldie and Ashley King, they're smart, occasionally salty, and never afraid to say what everyone else is thinking. Listen wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe at talentlesspodcast.com.
Yeah, there is, but let me think about what I want to say.
Okay.
Is there a mistake that taught me a valuable lesson?
Or an instance, and maybe not necessarily a mistake, but
Well, my first manager at Pace, this character, Mark Simons, who I mentioned before, and he was a great character and a great kind of, everybody goes on their journey and they meet their Gandalf or their Obi-Wan Kenobi, on your hero's journey. And maybe he was mine at the beginning. He had a lot of funny sayings, and he would always say, it's not a mistake until it leaves the office.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then they'd say some days you're the pigeon and other days you're the statue. And today we were the insert pigeon or statue, depending on what happened that day. But it's not a mistake until it leaves the office. I mean, check, I think, and that just means be connected to who you're working with, run things by other people, get feedback, don't work as a lone wolf, which is very easy when you're working remote to feel
really?
isolated or not. Is that right for payroll too? Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, I feel like it might pop into my head later, like, oh, that's a really great story I could tell about a time where I made a mistake and I learned so much, but no real great yarn is popping up for me now, unfortunately.
that's a great story
Absolutely.
though. So thank
Yeah.
About
Mhm.
paychecks, like where we'll someone's check or
Oh,
catching
geez, you guys
errors.
have it.
Yeah, like
course.
a team member might say, "Oh my gosh, I made a mistake," and I'm like, "Well, wait, did we pay on it yet?" Then it wasn't a mistake. You caught it, right? Like the way you put it, it's not a mistake until it leaves the office. It's not a mistake until it hits somebody's paycheck. Basically, what I tell the
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
folks. So yeah, I
Mhm.
love that. All right, so now
Mm.
wrapping it up here, looking ahead.
Okay.
What excites you the most about the future of payroll?
I think what I just was talking about is really, if I'm being really real, I hope that, because I've met hundreds and hundreds of payroll professionals who work really hard, don't always get much acknowledgement, thanks, appreciation. Sometimes they do. I shouldn't say that they don't, but I hope that technology can enable these folks to have really sustainable professional lives so they can have just really rich, full lives that aren't dominated by work.
Yeah, love it.
Now, listen, if you're so passionate about your job, you want to work 60 hours a week, that's great. And it's rare people, I think, who have, and if you really are in your passion,
you don't
if you're
feel it.
living your purpose, and that's you, fantastic, then you're in the right job. But that's not going to be
That's true.
everybody. And some people are just trying to get a paycheck and they're trying to support their family. And I hope that technology, AI can just make things more sustainable for people so that they can just have better mental health, have better physical health, have more time to be with people they love and enjoy being
I
alive.
love it.
Awesome.
All right, we're gonna play a little game here called This or That. You can choose one or the
Okay.
other, neither, both. Again, just something to get to know you beyond payroll. Well, you
Love
want to
it.
do the first four? I'll do the last.
Yeah, let's go. All right. So coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. Do you prefer early mornings or late nights?
Late nights.
Okay. Are you an Excel wizard or an automation enthusiast?
Oh, I'm neither. I'm awful at all of that. I've gotten better. I've gotten a lot better, but I'm not good at either of them. No.
All right. The last one for me is, do you prefer to be in office or remote?
Remote.
Remote. Okay. All
All
right, Brian.
right. Beach vacation or a city escape?
Oh man, they're both really good.
right.
No, I think a city escape. I would love a holiday like in New
Yep.
York City.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I miss it. I'm a New Yorker originally, so now I kind of,
Oh
I
yeah.
go back. I'm like, miss the city life of it all, and my ideal is kind of what I'm shooting for now is to be a snowbird. What they call it over here is basically you spend your summers in the north and then you spend your winters in the south. So you get away from that cold weather.
Nice.
All right, next one. Podcast or audiobooks?
I don't actually listen to
Okay.
audiobooks at all. I'll read a book, but I listen to
Roger that.
podcasts. Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you prefer, pouring through the data or actually helping people?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really because I'm not processing
Mhm.
payroll. Like I'm not seeing payroll data.
Or any data. I'm a data person. Like I'll look at data sets. Right.
Yeah, I can love like getting into
Mhm.
research, getting into the weeds, going down rabbit
Yep.
holes, doing research. I do love that. But I think that, yeah, there's a certain kind of, the brain gets a really nice dopamine hit when you're making
Yeah.
contact with other people, when you're making an
figured that.
impact on somebody else. I think
Figured.
Yeah.
that's the warm and fuzzies there. Yeah.
Last one, or Europe.
Well,
You can say both. It's fine.
All right, I
You
can't
can say
say both.
both.
Yeah, they're both special. They're both really special, and I love very different things about both.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
Yeah.
both.
I was.
Keep the
Yeah.
peace.
Oh, of course. I told Walt recently. I was like, I want to live in, and me and my wife like love London, and different that and characters, fictional, of course. I was like, I want to live in Europe
Yeah.
for a year at least at some point.
it's great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I had no idea you were originally from the U.S. and your journey took you over there, and that's awesome. Michael,
Yeah.
you are missing out on a career and like hosting some type of show. You're a great orator. You're a great speaker, man.
Yes.
Keep doing what you're doing. It's such an honor to have you on. Thank you so much for making the time for us. This is your home, man. If there's anything else you need to want to come back on and, we talk about, and we're trying to, waiting for the day to be able to get Kira back on. We got Max coming up soon. He's talking about the book. Yeah.
Great.
His second time
Fantastic.
too. We've had him on already, but when he dropped the book, we were like, "Hey, come back on."
Yeah.
Paul already
He'd
bought
be
it.
a great repeat
Yeah.
guest.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Now Max is amazing. So and again, love to have you back on at some point. And thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Really great to meet
Yeah,
you both, and
likewise.
I hope to get to know more about both of you the next time,
Absolutely.
because you got to know about me, but I didn't get to know you much.
Yeah,
Likewise,
let's do that.
likewise.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Michael, for anybody listening that may be interested in your services or what you provide, where can they find you?
Yeah, we're payrollminds.com, I want to say. We're on LinkedIn. We have a new website that's up with some really cool branding, actually, that's really dreamy. I have it on a t-shirt here.
Yeah.
I'll grab it. So I didn't know this because I'm American. The Dutch have a really beautiful, would it be considered a textile tradition? I don't know, but it's called Delft blue. It's like a pattern.
The owl.
Here's this
Oh, that's
beautiful
cool.
owl here. And it has that beautiful blue and white. Like you might sometimes see it on a plate or a
Yes.
bowl type
Yes.
of thing.
Yes.
And so the new branding of Payroll Minds, we have these Delft blue owls,
I'm
octopuses,
looking at it now. It's amazing.
eagles, and it's really cool because the idea is like they're kind of these metaphors for what payroll people do. Like the octopus is the most intelligent creature under the sea. It has all these tentacles doing all these different
I like
things.
that.
The owl is the wisest bird. Its head can rotate, and see everything 360 degrees. So no, there's some very kind of imaginative, whimsical payroll branding that's happening with Payroll Minds right now that I think is very unique and actually kind of beautiful, which you
is.
don't always see things
Yeah.
that are lovely
Yep.
to look at when you're looking at that branding of a business.
love it.
It's
So
amazing.
shout out to Franz in Haarlem in the Netherlands for doing that work.
Amazing.
But yeah, I would say find Payroll Minds and check out Bart's book as
Yep.
well. It's called The Payroll Mind, Bart Vanderstorm's book. Check out Kira Rubiano on LinkedIn, her whole brand, Mind Body Payroll, that she's building.
Yes, great.
Really brilliant, smart person. based in Chicago. So yeah, check out all those cool cats,
Amazing.
and let's get connected.
Oh, thank
For
you.
sure. Thanks, man. Thank you so much. And
Thanks,
so then,
guys.
yeah,
Take care.
please, folks, engage, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, and go check out Michael Steen. Go check out payrollminds.com. And until the next time, we love you.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Good luck.